Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of my financial journal. So earlier this week we talked about the loan forbearance. I want to address that quickly. I don't think that we're in for another 2008. I do think people will default on their loans. Loans will have to get restructured. It's going to take a long time to climb out of this mess that we're in right now with COVID. But a lot of the noise that I'm hearing from the loan servicers and the mortgage guys, I'm including a link. Let's take a peek at it real quick of this Reddit article that's been going viral. First of all, this shit is so confusing. It's too confusing, which means these guys probably have to get wiped out from all this. I think a correction from COVID-19 will actually mean that a lot of these middlemen involved in the mortgage process or how loans get issued could be a good thing. There shouldn't be so many complicated steps for you to get a mortgage or a loan in 2020. All these fucking middlemen who are competing for points and tiny bits of margin and doing all this complicated hedging, that's not gonna fly anymore. Maybe that's gonna be a silver lining for America, or maybe that's just a non-capitalistic approach to what's happening. But I personally think some of these guys getting wiped out wouldn't be such a bad thing. And I'm sure I'm gonna probably get trolled for some of those comments, but so be it. I wanna talk about the bigger issue. Bigger issue that we're facing as a nation is hyperinflation, or runaway inflation. Now, history always determines what's gonna happen in the future. I think that the problem is we don't pay attention to history, and we're not that well informed in this country on what has happened in history, because if we paid a little bit of attention, we would actually know what's coming. This feels very similar to what happened in the 1920s. Germany had to sign the Treaty of Versailles. They had to pay a lot of reparations after World War I, and they basically had two options. They could either default on their debt, or they could move into this hyperinflation mode by creating more currency. Now, because back then the Reichmark, which is what their currency was, wasn't backed by gold, similar to what we have in the United States. The US dollar is no longer backed by gold as well. Defaulting on debt wasn't even an option. So the way that they tried to dig themselves out of this mess they were in was by printing a ton more Reichmark into circulation. So much to the point that it went from thousands to millions to even trillions of Reichmark to go and buy a sausage down the street in 1920. You literally had a wheelbarrow of cash because people were not spending it. They were hoarding it essentially in World War I. So what happens is when you aren't spending money, similar to COVID-19, people aren't going out and buying things. The government is basically just printing shit on a printing press and just endless amounts, similar to what's happening in the United States. 2 trillion, 6 trillion, 10 trillion, and the reality is we're not stopping. Trump is gonna keep signing and keep printing. The Federal Reserve is gonna keep pumping so much more cash until we head in that direction. So because they printed so much Reichmark into circulation, they crippled their economy this way. Now, what happens next is even scarier. And this is the thing we have to be very careful about in the United States. Runaway inflation is going to be very bad and devastating. It means the prices are going to continue to go up. Your energy bills, your medical bills, your food, something that would cost $5 today is going to cost $20 next month. And that's going to continue on. But what happened in Germany in the 1920s was a lot scarier. Dictatorship happened. People are scared. People are vulnerable. They want a solution to solve this hyperinflation. So they go with an extreme. And this is exactly when Hitler started making a name for himself and coming into power. And that's something we have to be very, very careful about here in the United States with, this so-called democracy that we have. Is we want to make sure we don't lose it to a dictatorship. What's really fascinating and what keeps me up is all the things that should have been taught to us in school that really didn't. How money works, how currency is created, what is inflation, what is currency devaluation, what is foreign exchange markets, what is fractional reserve lending. All these things that seem like 101, they aren't taught in the United States in schools. And you probably have to become a banker or work in private equity to learn these concepts. So right now, we are in a time where we're getting this fast track education about all these things. It's happening in real time. You just need to watch a press conference to get all this new information. And we have a lot of other crazy stuff that didn't exist in 1920, like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. We still have gold and silver. We'll see how those markets react. But we have a lot more technology that existed today that didn't exist back then. So, in summary, we will expect to receive a lot more money. We are going to get free money. There's going to be grants, there's going to be relief money, and it's not ending. But this is not necessarily a good thing. There's a lot of unintended consequences with this. So it's not a reason to celebrate and go party. Let's look at history. Things did not end so well with them. So let's stay educated and informed. Now is an opportunity to learn your history if you haven't already. Tune in to my podcast. I'm posting content daily. As always, thanks for watching, guys.